Could Liam Lawson be guaranteed a seat at Alpha Tauri next season? So far, Liam has had 2 races, but it's not a certain guarantee that we're in this car next season. Now, Liam is having a fantastic season in Super Formula, one that has obviously caught the attention of Red Bull, and they have trusted him with the drive, and he is, technically speaking, now ahead of both Ricciardo and De Vries in terms of the Drivers' Championship after 2 races, thanks to his 11th place finish at Monza. For me, it's been impressive from Liam. Yes, definitely impressive from the young Kiwi driver who hasn't had Tsunoda at Monza. Had Tsunoda started the race, then potentially he could have been on for that. It would have been interesting to see how the two get on. It looks like he's going to get 2 more races because Daniel Ricciardo is likely to be out until Qatar now, as he continues to recover, which is obviously going to help Liam because one of those races is Suzuka, a track that he's already raced on this year and will race on again later in October in Super Formula. Now, obviously there are outside factors to consider. Number 1 is, well, actually the first couple is Sergio Perez. Perez, of course, is at Red Bull, the senior team there, and he's come out saying it admits he'll for the first time explore alternate options to racing for Red Bull when his current deal expires as well. So he could be leaving Red Bull. Maybe there's a seat further down the grid, potentially like a Williams or an Alpine, even Alfa Romeo, not Alfa Romeo, Sauber, of course, what they'll be after 2024. But this has been saying after his deal expires, which is at the end of next season. Doesn't help Liam. But of course, if you hear what Helmut Marko has to say, the evil doctor, Sergio is already over 30 and expecting his 4th child, so he has other interests. You'll have to wait and see what happens next. Yeah. Helmut Marko has once again opened his gob and has not been very kind to a driver. Now, I have suggested in the past that Perez could be fired at the end of this season from his contract. That, however, is an issue for Red Bull because the replacement they're looking at is not Daniel Ricciardo, but Lando Norris. Helmut has also been quoted and saying he's definitely a candidate for us in terms of youth and speed, would suit us very well. Sergio, on the other hand, is already over 30 and expecting his 4th child. Congratulations, Checo there. So he has other interests. You'll have to see what happens next. I personally don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, you've got Ricciardo. Ricciardo was supposed to come back. He was supposed to be this big threat to Perez for next season, and it's obviously not happened. Now, there's obviously the thing about bringing Ricciardo back in the first place. I mean, again, the thing is, you bring Ricciardo into the Alpha Tauri team, serves as the precursor to Red Bull. So, the drivers are only there purely to give them experience of racing in F1 in order to promote them up the grid. It served very well for them out the previous years. Perez is one of the few drivers that hasn't driven for the Alpha Tauri / Toro Rosso Italian outfit team, whatever it's going to be called next season, in the past. Could they look outside again with Norris, or will they look to promote Ricciardo temporarily for next season, even the season after? Because he's in his 30s. He could make a good fit at Red Bull, but that is yet to be seen. Now, obviously, the easiest thing is Ricciardo goes to Red Bull, Lawson takes the vacant seat at Alpha Tauri, Toro Rosso, whatever Hugo Boss is going to be calling that team. The other alternate scenario could be Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki is also being linked, and I say thinly linked, with the vacant seat at Williams. And I call it a vacant seat because will Logan Sargent be facing the exit door? I'm saying yes, because I think he's just an American version of Nicholas Latifi. Was horrible. He was like 8th in the form charts of F2 at the end of last season. He's not in great form. They need 2 drivers scoring points, and so far Logan hasn't scored any, despite a Q3 appearance so far. Lots of people are saying that he's going to get an appearance because of what's happening with Mercedes junior drivers, but Williams, of course, don't need necessarily bow to Mercedes. As well, obviously, Mercedes have decided to place Antonelli in F2, who's this young Italian hotshot, straight into F2. Nothing in Formula 3. That's what's been rumoured anyway. I don't think I've ever seen anything official about that yet, but that's the likely rumour that's going to happen. So, obviously there's swings around about. There's an outside chance, obviously, with the likes of Isaac Hadjar, as well, Ayuma Iwasa, apologies for butchering his pronunciation there. They could also effectively, but they're not really near the title. It's pretty much between Vesti and Pourchaire for the in the final round, which they have to wait all the way to the end of November at Abu Dhabi for that episode, for that round. Personally, has Liam done enough? Potentially, yes. I mean, he's been close to Tsunoda in qualifying at Monza, and also during the race at Zandvoort, despite getting a 10-second penalty for something that really wasn't his fault, being the double stack. It really wasn't his fault. I don't know why the FIA gave him one. It's the double stack. You see it all the time, really. Yeah, we see it in the F1 game when they don't give out 10-second penalties for getting blocked. I know, but obviously, you'll have to wait and see what he can do at Singapore and Japan. If he can beat Tsunoda, and I say if he beats Tsunoda, then he's probably guaranteed an Alpha Tauri drive next season, without doubt. Because if you're beating Tsunoda, the man who's been there for his 3rd season at the team, yeah, then definitely then Yuki might be at the exit door. If he doesn't beat Tsunoda, then it ultimately depends what happens with Perez, what happens with Ricciardo, if Norris decides to leave McLaren early, which I don't think he will. There's a lot of factors at play here for that. Obviously, we're still waiting to see what happens with the vacant Williams seat, which potentially could be linked depending on who goes there in place of Alpha Tauri. Somebody like, for example, Williams could potentially scout Liam Lawson, in a fast car, and they'd be off the pressure. But his performance so well in an Alpha Tauri, imagine what he could do in a Williams, and also the support that Williams there obviously has. With Mick Schumacher's obviously been criticising Haas a lot recently, publicly as well, over their development. He's somebody else that was linked with the move to Williams, but is less likely as well. Alex Palou is also linked with that seat. There's also others like Frederick Vesti as well. It looks like that the Sauber seat, the only other vacant seat on the grid, by the way, just to fill you in, that seat is likely to tweet between Thierry Pourchaire, who's the championship leader, and Zhou Guanyu. Apparently Zhou's money's starting to run out, so for him with the sponsors, that could be the end to Zhou's career. So yes, that's where I'm going to leave today's episode of Race Week. Let me know what you think. Will Liam Lawson be racing for Alpha Tauri in F1 next season? Let me know in the comments below. If you're new around here though, please do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, enjoy your day, and goodbye.